There are tragedies that remain in historical records as numbers: dead, injured, date, cause. And there are tragedies that remain in the bodies of those who survived as a pain that no statistic can measure. The Joelma building fire is both of those things: a horrible number and a trauma that no amount of time has been able to erase. It was February 1st, 1974, a Friday morning, at number 239 Avenida 9 de Julio, in the heart of the city of São Paulo. Brazil in 1974 was living through a complex paradox. The military regime tightened political control while the economy accelerated at a pace that seemed unstoppable. São Paulo was the symbol of that. Skyscrapers sprang up on every corner, offices multiplied, and the rhythm of the city pulsed with the energy of those who believe the future will always be greater than the present. The Joelma building had 25 floors and housed hundreds of workers each day. It was modern, well located, and represented everything that a rising metropolis promised its inhabitants. That morning, around 8:50, more than 700 people were spread across its floors: clerks, lawyers, secretaries, executives, messengers, ordinary people carrying out another ordinary workday. Then on the 12th floor, an air conditioning unit short-circuited. The spark was small, but what followed was not. The flames spread with a speed that survivors described as impossible to imagine without having witnessed it. Within minutes, thick black smoke had consumed the corridors and stairwells. And here is the detail that transforms this tragedy from accident into crime. The Joelma building had no independent emergency exit. The stairs connected directly to the elevator shaft, meaning that when the flames took over that space, the stairs became completely unusable. There were no sprinklers. There was no emergency corridor lighting. There was no trained evacuation plan or adequate exit signage. There was only fire, smoke, panic, and hundreds of people with nowhere to go. The people on the 12th floor were the first to try to escape. Some managed to descend before the flames blocked the passage. Others went upward, seeking air at the windows of higher floors. And then the sound that no one who was there could ever forget filled Avenida 9 de Julio, the sound of bodies falling. People began to jump from the 12th floor, from the 15th, from the 20th, from the 23rd. It was not irrational desperation. It was the brutal choice between dying burned or trying anything else. Many did not survive the fall, but some, in an almost inexplicable way, survived. On the sidewalk below, a crowd formed quickly. Pedestrians, motorists who stopped their cars, shopkeepers from the surrounding area, all looking up, in silence or in screams, seeing things that no human eye should ever have to see. Helicopters arrived, but the heat from the flames made it impossible to approach the upper floors. The firefighters' hoses couldn't reach the highest floors of the building. The minutes passed with a cruelty that those watching from below could not bear. On the Joelma building rooftop, something even more agonizing was happening. Dozens of people had climbed to the roof before the flames closed off access through the stairwells. They stayed there, in the suffocating heat, with smoke rising from below, between the open sky and advancing flames. Some people remained on the rooftop for more than 2 hours, waiting, praying, watching the helicopters approach and retreat, unable to land or rescue. When the rescues finally began, one by one, with the helicopters managing to get close enough, many of the rooftop survivors were in total collapse, burned, intoxicated by smoke, in shock. Some couldn't communicate for days. The final number was devastating: 191 dead, 341 injured, a building destroyed from within, with only the concrete shell standing as a silent witness to what had happened. But the story of the Joelma building did not end with the numbers, because in the months that followed, something began to be reported by the workers who entered the building for damage assessment and reconstruction. Something that no official report recorded, but that none of those present could ignore. Sounds of voices on completely empty floors, footsteps in sealed corridors, the persistent feeling of presence in spaces that should have been absolutely deserted. One worker reported hearing someone calling his name on the 12th floor one afternoon when he was the only human being in the building. He didn't return the next day. Others requested reassignment without giving detailed explanations. They only said they couldn't stay. The building was reconstructed, renamed, renovated. Attempts were made to erase from collective memory what had happened at that address. But the stories continued, even among people who worked in the renovated building without knowing about the fire. People who described an inexplicable unease on the middle floors, the sudden smell of smoke with no visible origin, the sensation of not being alone in completely closed rooms. Official investigations found the responsibles. Technical reports pointed to negligence in the approval and inspection of the building, but no punishment was proportional to the scale of the tragedy. None of those responsible were imprisoned, and many of the victims' families never received any adequate form of reparation. The Joelma building fire is on the list of the greatest urban tragedies in Brazilian history. But what happened on the floors of that building, what people saw, heard, and felt during and after the fire, goes beyond any list or classification. What turned a common spark into 191 dead? What remained in that building after the fire was extinguished? And why, decades later, does the name Joelma still make certain people go silent? The complete story is in the full video here on the channel. Because there are things that fire does not destroy, and the time cannot erase.